The SEC has never been as unpredictable as it is here going to 2025. I think we're going to see a lot of chaos. It's going to be the Wild West meets the Southeast. And among all that chaos, I've identified 4 teams that legitimately can win the SEC this year. And I got a 5th team that I think roster-wise is good enough to win. I think the coach, though, is good enough to win. I'll give you that here, and I'll give you an official prediction because I think when it's all said and done, we're going to see a team win the SEC that's never won the title before. A first in school history coming here. I'll give that to you. But quickly, just to dive into the 4 teams that can truly win the title this year, we got to start with the reigning champs. Georgia's absolutely in the mix here. They got a lot of inexperience, lost a lot of players from last year's team. But what gives me optimism is not only Kirby Smart, right? But look at what Georgia did last year. They won the SEC title despite having a turnover machine at quarterback and a wide receiver room that could not catch a fish if there was a barrel full of them right in front of them. Carson Beck was a turnover machine last year. Guy had 15 turnovers in just 12 plus games, and the receiver room led the country in drops. So just by those guys leaving the program and moving on, I think Georgia's improved. Gunnar Stockton, I liked his poise coming in at halftime of the Texas game and against Notre Dame. Now he's got a full off season. He takes care of the football. He's going to be fine. I think he's going to step in and be A-okay. I think he'll be an upgrade over Carson Beck. And speaking of upgrades, Kirby Smart did a really good job this offseason in the portal of upgrading that receiver room. He got Noah Thomas, A&M's number 1 receiver, got him to come over. He got Zachariah Branch, who is electric with the ball in his hands from USC. Now, receiver room will be better. Quarterback will be better. Defense will be very good, as it usually is for Georgia. Not elite, but very good here. You look at Georgia's schedule, 2 biggest games, Alabama, Texas, both coming to Athens. Huge for the Dogs. They have the talent. Even though there's not a lot of experience, they absolutely can win the SEC here, go back-to-back as SEC champs. No doubt about it. Georgia can do it. So can Texas. I think we can absolutely see a rematch here of Georgia-Texas. Texas is very similar to the Dogs. A lot of talent, also a lot of inexperience, highlighted by, you guessed it, Arch Manning. He's the biggest storyline in college football, obviously the biggest storyline here in the SEC. Here's how I think Archer's going to play in 2025. I think, to me, he's going to be reminiscent of Ben & Jerry's ice cream. Right? You've had Ben & Jerry's. Is it the best ice cream you've ever had? Probably not. But is it damn good? Hell yeah, it is. Whether it's fish food, s'mores, half-baked. Oh, my mouth is watering so good, right? Like Ben & Jerry's, while it may not be number 1, is really damn good. That's what I think Archer's going to be here this season. I don't think he's going to win the Heisman Trophy. I don't think he's going to be the best quarterback in the country. I don't think he's going to be the best quarterback in the SEC. I'll tell you who will in a second here. But I think he's going to be really damn good. I think he's going to elevate an offense that does have question marks around him. You look at the offensive line, they lost 4 of 5 starters from last year's unit. They were elite last year. That's a question mark that Arch has to fill. But I think his play is going to raise their level. He's got 2 receivers that are really good in Ryan Wingo and DeAndre Moore. You got health back now as CJ Baxter returns in the running back room. So you got a lot of talent around Arch to help make his transition easier as a first-time starter for Texas. Plus, you look on the other side of the ball, that defense, especially that front 7, it's elite. I'd put that front 7 that Texas has against any front 7 in the country. They are that good. And Steve Sarkisian's earned the benefit of the doubt. He's a great coach, and he's gotten the most out of his team. He is really the first coach since Mac Brown in Texas that has brought his team up to expectation and surpassed, I think, at times, expectations for Texas. He's done a great job. So I think Texas, along with Georgia, absolutely can win. The interesting thing, though, to keep an eye on for the Horns here, I don't think it's going to kill their season, but I think it's going to be a good test to make them stronger towards the end of the year. 3 of their 4 biggest conference games away from Austin. Again, inexperienced, but I think it's going to help make them stronger here. And Texas absolutely can win the SEC title here in 2025. So can Alabama. Let's get the negative out of the way first here. I'm not exactly enthralled with their quarterback competition. Ty Simpson and Keelan Russell, basically. And Austin Mack's in there, but it's really, I think, a 2-man race. And we haven't exactly heard a ton of hype coming out of Alabama's camp about Simpson the way we heard hype about Arch Manning amongst other quarterbacks here as well. Not a lot to talk about with Simpson. Now, Keelan Russell's got the hype. But remember this. Outside of Trevor Lawrence, we've really never seen a true freshman quarterback come in and lead their team to great heights, right? No true freshmen coming in and winning the SEC or making the college football playoff or winning a playoff game. So it's extremely rare. Again, Trevor Lawrence is really the only one to expect a true freshman to come in and make an immediate impact. So Russell is talented. I don't expect a lot from him here. I think Simpson's going to win the job anyway. I think he'll be the starter. But despite maybe the lack of enthusiasm and excitement around the quarterback position, why I'm still sitting here and telling you Alabama can win the SEC this year is because I trust Kalen DeBoer. He's a top 5 coach in the sport. And to me, he's really reminiscent of Lincoln Riley in the sense of this guy could get great quarterback play from a rock. He's done a great job at getting a ton out of his quarterbacks. He helped make Michael Penix Jr. a top 10 pick when he had him at Washington there for 2 years. So I think we'll get the most out of Simpson or whoever plays quarterback for Alabama here in 2025. I'm not too worried about the offense, especially too because you have one of the best wide receiver rooms in the country, led by Ryan Williams, second best receiver in all of college football. And you have a defense that should be one of the best in the country. And I would say right now should be the best in the SEC. That defense is loaded with talent, and that's going to take some pressure off of Alabama's offense, especially early on. When they go at Florida State and you have Wisconsin come to town, that should make some growing pains, which are natural, right, easier and smooth out some of those bumps in the road with how good that defense is. And when you look at Alabama's schedule, this is important because I think when you look at the SEC, how do you get to Atlanta? You can't have more than 2 losses. You cannot be worse than 6-2 in the conference this year, I think, in order to make the SEC title game and give yourself a shot to win the SEC. So you look at the schedule here. Toughest game on the road at Georgia. Yikes. Right? Not ideal. That's a loss. Let's chalk it up right there. But the good news is for Alabama, their 3 next toughest games outside of that one. Tennessee, LSU, Oklahoma. All at home. All in Tuscaloosa. That is huge. Huge for Alabama here. I think when you look at this, Kalen DeBoer's coaching ability, this great defense, that's a formula for Alabama ending up in Atlanta and winning the SEC. Kalen DeBoer had a down year 1, right? 9-4, not good by any metric, any standard. Year 2, he's going to bounce back. Thomas Castellanos be damned. Bama's back. Book it. They can win the SEC here in 2025. And the 4th team, the final team. This may surprise you. And if it does, it's not too late. Buy stock. We're 2 months away from the season starting. Buy your stock now. The Oklahoma Sooners. They can absolutely win the SEC here in 2025 in large part because of their quarterback, John Mateer. Remember when I told you that Arch Manning won't be the best quarterback in the SEC this year? That's because Mateer will. He's that good. He was so much fun to watch last year at Washington State. Accounted for nearly 4,000 yards of total offense. Had 44 touchdowns in 2024. He's a great dual threat. He can beat you with his arm, beat you with his legs. And here's what's encouraging. But because transfer quarterbacks sometimes are hit and miss. How do they fit in with the system? How quickly can they gel with the receivers? His OC, Ben Arbuckle, coming with him. So now you have continuity in the sense of offensive coordinator and quarterback on the same page. Now the rest of the team, right, the rest of the offense has to learn the new plays and the scheme and the system. But I feel pretty good that transition will be made easier because the OC and the quarterback, the 2 most important people for offensive success, are on the same page, have a lot of familiarity and a lot of success with each other. So I think Mateer is going to have a huge year. And he's going to help elevate a receiver room that is filled with questions. They were banged up a lot last year, but still, talent maybe is not what Oklahoma's used to in the past. But Mateer will be good enough to uplift them. Running back room got a big help with Jaden Ott to go coming in from Cal, along with their 3 top leading rushers from last year's team. Back this year, you got great depth in the running back room, a great talent at receiver, a great talent at quarterback. You'll be fine on the O-line, fine at receiver. Defense, I trust Brent Venables, right? Still one of the best defensive minds in college football. I trust that Oklahoma defense will be one of the best in the SEC. Top 20, top 25 in all of college football. And that's a recipe for ending up in Atlanta. The schedule's similar to Texas in the sense of 3 of their 4 toughest SEC games are away from home. But again, you got a veteran quarterback that I trust. I like the week 2 game against Michigan, non-conference, but I think it's a good test early on to see what this team is made of. I think they're going to win that game. Don't sleep on Oklahoma. This team is legit. They're going to have a big bounce back here from what so far Brent Venables has done in his first couple of years in Norman. They absolutely can win the SEC this year. So Oklahoma, Alabama, Texas, Georgia. Those are the only 4 teams that can win the SEC. Before I give my official pick, I told you as a 5th team, roster-wise, good enough to win the SEC, but I don't trust the coach. That is LSU. Look, I can't sit here with a straight face and try to sell you on LSU and try to sell you, more importantly, that Brian Kelly can win big games. Because what has he not done at LSU for the most part? win big games. Guys, 4-8 against ranked opponents in his time at LSU. I know we got the Alabama game a few years ago overtime. I get it. Since that moment, every big game for the most part, this guy has not come through. And so how can I sit here and tell you that LSU can win the SEC in 2025 when that means winning some big time games, which he has not done, and also taking care of business as well? The 4 toughest games LSU has this year, Florida and A&M both come to Death Valley. They're at Alabama, at Oklahoma. Let's just say, I think it's fair, LSU goes 2-2 in that 4-game stretch. That also means then you're going to trust Brian Kelly in the other 4 SEC games at Ole Miss, home against South Carolina with Lenore Sellers, at Vanderbilt with a cocky and confident Diego Pavia, and Arkansas coming to town, that he's going to go 4-0 in those games. Because I just told you, you can't go anything worse than 6-2 to make Atlanta. I don't trust him. I really don't. I don't know what you've seen if you trust Brian Kelly and LSU this year to win the SEC. I don't know what you're watching. Again, roster-wise, they're great, and that's like the frustrating part. I think Brian Kelly's done a great job building this roster. He said it earlier this offseason that he thinks this is the best LSU team he's had, and I agree with him. He did an outstanding job in the portal. Number 1 transfer portal class in all of college football. He helped to elevate the wide receiver room. He backfilled the defensive line room. He turned around the secondary. Now, this is not transfer portal-wise, but this is just health-wise. The linebacker room is now healthier with the return of Harold Perkins after missing last year with the ACL. Like, this roster, you look up and down, Garrett Nussmeier, I'm not the biggest Nuss guy. I think he's a little overrated. Stats are inflated. He's more of a compiler because they throw the ball so much. Do I trust him in big spots? I really don't for the most part. He's good. Is he great? I wouldn't go there. But still, you have a good quarterback, a great roster. It's just, I just can't sit here and trust Brian Kelly's going to get it done, because he's given me right now, in 3 years at LSU, no reason to believe he can get it done consistently over the course of a full season. We saw him with a Heisman winner have 3 losses by the time September ended a few years ago with Jaden Daniels. I can't sit here, even with how talented they are, I can't sit here and tell you LSU can win the SEC here in 2025. That's why they are off the list. Now, before we get going, official SEC prediction, who wins here in 2025? I told you, it'll be a first-time champion. And that's because the Texas Longhorns are winning the SEC. I think we're going to see a rematch. Texas, Georgia, and Atlanta. Longhorns get their revenge. They win the SEC in what will be a very unpredictable and chaotic 2025 season. You've heard my thoughts here. If you disagree, if there's a team I named that could win the SEC that you disagree with, if I didn't name a team that you think deserves to be on the list of teams that could win here in 2025, shoot me a comment. Best way to have your voice heard, in the comments below. You can also tweet me on Twitter, Ryan_Hickey3, but comments right there, make it easy, right? You don't have to go to another platform. Right below, we'll go back and forth. I love kind of interacting with you and talking college football here as well. If you're a first-time visitor to the channel, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Make sure you subscribe. We got a lot of college football content coming your way as in the days and weeks ahead. Appreciate you watching. Texas, congratulations to you. 2025 SEC champs.